can have a quick coffee. Nice beautiful desert oaks. Gorgeous tree. Sunrise. Quick brew. Right. It's not bad. Fridge is up already. Boys are up.
My truck.
Yeah, so you've been driving road trains up and down Rich from Ayres to Darwin, is that right? How long have you been doing that for?
I've been sort of involved the last 40 years, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the trucking. Started off with growing up on cattle station.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once helicopters, fences, and all that came in, then that lifestyle was, I could see it going, you know. Yeah. Then I wanted a bit more, see the country and a bit more freedom. So I started off with cattle trucks.
Yeah, carting cattle.
Yeah, with Tanamais there for a few years, and then from there moved on to freight.
Yeah.
And doing a lot of mine haul work.
So you've driven all these roads around the Outback in trucks?
Pretty well, yeah.
Would have been rough roads back
And
then.
yes.
And you were saying just real slow, like 10, 20 k's an hour, or 10 k an hour?
Yeah, from the Ayres or Drifta to the border, it's about 180 k's.
Yeah.
So that'll take me 7.5, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And in
Because
that-
this was the worst section.
Yeah, right.
Once you hit the border, you know, in WA, it smooths out, you know.
Yeah.
Really nice.
And recently you've been doing, did you have to get your, because what license you got now? You got you can tow 4 trailers, can you?
MC, you know.
MC,
Yeah.
yeah. And did you have to set a test back when you first got your license, back then?
Sort of a test, not like now.
Yeah.
That once they knew you could sort of drive and operate, and you're careful and conscious, and you got your license, you know.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the skills, that it's just sort of working and honing and you know, listening to the sound of the motor and watching your trailers and listening out. So as soon as you hear something, it's always something different. So you pull up and do a check, you know. Yeah.
And you would have got good at fixing flat tyres and that sort of thing?
Back then, yeah. Then it got sort of better and better last 15 years, because better tyres, you know, good tyres coming out, and you're able to carry 3-4 spares.
Yeah.
And then, most of the depots have a tyre fitters come around and do your tyres for you now, you know. Yeah.
And you were saying on the main road, so you've been doing a lot of Ayres to Darwin last few years.
Yep.
With a big, what are you carting? Diesel or?
Mainly diesel, eh? Yeah.
So 4 tankers?
That's running quad. So
Quads.
you've got about 125, 130,000 litres there, you know. Yeah.
And what's it like driving on the main road, all them caravans up and down?
Oh, look, a lot of them are very good, conscious, and a lot of them not, you know. Yeah, you do come on to convoys where it's 5, 6 or 10 and they're all together jammed up.
Yeah.
You know, then
Makes it hard to get around them.
it does, you know. You do call up because a lot of them have the two-way radio and say, look, can you guys sort of spread out a little bit? Or most of them, as soon as they find a parkhead, then they pull over anyway, And but the last year and the year before, it's I've never seen so many tourists on the highway, between Ayres and Darwin.
Yeah, right.
All your rest areas, campsites, you could see anything from 40 to 60 people, caravans and cars camped, And all those roadhouses, I think walk up had over 300 and most of them around 200 to 300, Yeah.
And so you're generally always on channel 40?
Always, yep.
Yeah, so they can just call up and if they want to get around you or you want to get around them, just get on and have a bit of a chat, eh?
That's it. Most of them you sort of advise them, look, sit there, I'll give you a call when there's a long straight and it's all clear, and then I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
And a lot of them impatient.
Yeah.
And the good ones will sort of sit back and enjoy the drive and
Yeah. If you got someone behind you, you want them in front of you, don't you? You want to let them past. You don't want someone sitting behind you, so.
Oh no.
You want them in front and let them go, don't you?
That's it, But you've got to wait till because the roads anyway. You've got to wait till the good straights and.
And you said sections. some caravans sort of speed up, and that makes it hard to get around them.
They do, even you come on to 2 or 3 caravans and they spaced out nicely, and then all of a sudden the last man will sort of see you coming up, so he speeds up. Then his mate ahead of him speeds up, and then they all of a sudden the 3 of them are bunched together, Yeah.
So
you call up and to give you space, and because you want to keep the same speed as much as possible, There's a lot of pull, when you got 3 or 4 tankers or trailers and
how heavy
to
are
get
you?
going again. Look, you're looking at from 90 to 120 ton, Yeah.
You don't want to be slowing down, speeding up all the time, do you?
Oh, look, if you slow down, then it'll take you another 5 to 6 kilometres to pick up again where you were at,
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So, but most of the tourists are good, or people are good, and they sort of call each other up and most of them sort of get away 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, where your truck's by then are going through,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's and it's not a bad life, and and going through here, you run into I think I run into a couple of Korean guys that's on the pushback.
Oh yeah.
Going from Perth across to East Coast.
Yeah, wow.
Then a German couple, So you pull up and you ask if they want food, so you give them food or water or whatever they need, and a bit of a chat at the same time, Yeah. It's nice to meet up.
And we were talking yesterday about your first vehicle was when you were a young fellow. What was that? Your first car you bought?
Was, me and a mate of mine, Russell Hall, we both grew up and worked on Deepwater Station for Hayes family, and we ended up going halves in a HR Holden Ute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year was that, you reckon?
Probably 66, something like that, Yeah.
What colour was it?
It was more sort of light blue.
Yeah.
Light blue colour.
Yeah.
And then when we started to sort of cash up a little bit more, and then we I think Russell bought me out, and then I ended up buying something else,
Yeah. So you went halves to start with.
Yeah.
Two ringers and a HR Ute.
That's it. Yep.
And driving all over, and what did you do when you got a flat tyre? Didn't have a ARB twin compressor?
Nah, nothing. Just have the old hand pump,
Yeah.
And so you ended up if you ended up getting too flat, well, then you got no choice but break the bead and take the tyre off and
patch it,
and patch the tube up. And
yeah,
used to be all tubes back then, you know. Yeah. You burn the patch on and off you go again, you know.
Just pump it up with a hand pump.
Yeah. I think it was about 40 pumps, you know.
Yeah.
So you'd sort of count, and that'll sort of give you 30, 35 psi.
Yeah.
That's it.
Ah,
Fun
good old
and
truck, eh? The old ute. And just your swags in the back and
That's all.
saddle and
Just swags, saddles, that's it.
yeah. What was your first swag like? What was swags like when you were on the stations as a ringer? What were the swags like? Just a bit of canvas, or did you have a mattress? Or
Yeah, no, because R.M. Williams was big back then, so everyone had R.M. Williams canvas, you know.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Just
10
canvas.
by 10 or 9 by 8, you know.
Yeah, right.
They're
Just a
good
bit
thick canvas.
Just a bit of canvas.
Yeah.
And
Then your blankets and a pillow. That's it.
yeah, right. So the swag was just just a big square.
Yeah,
or
no mattress,
no mattress.
no mattress, nothing.
Yeah.
That's your bed there, you know, just on the ground, hard ground. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
Not like when you look at that, you know.
Yeah.
And then look at that over there. You
Get a bit more comfort now.
know? It's shit, yeah.
I reckon Glenn should try that tonight.
What's that?
Bit of canvas on the ground, like Richard used to do. I got some canvas.
Can
No.
I have the electric blanket? Can I have the electric blanket?
No, you can't.
No,
You didn't have. No, you wouldn't have had electric blanket.
no,
And not even a mattress.
not even a
Yes,
mattress.
mate.
Not back then, you know.
And just your blankets, roll it up. And did you used to use your leather stirrup straps to roll it up with?
Yeah, we had swag straps, you know. Yep. Yeah, a lot of them we used to make them, you know. We'd buy the leather and then cut strips and make your own
Yeah.
belts and stirrup leather and all that, you know. Yeah. Same with saddlebags, you know, and then because you had on your saddle, you had saddlebag one side, then you got caught by the other side. So a few of us used to muck around making all that, you know. Yeah. Do a hand stitching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just with red hide or lots of rough tanned cowhide.
And heavy leather on the back, and then on the outside, and then more sort of soft leather, and you got a clip there to clip your flap.
Yeah.
And everything was hand stitched, and your thread you just used to wax to make the stitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So RM was that was the go to get some RM Williams canvas. For you.
Look,
For
we
your swag.
were lucky enough. They had some started to. I think there was one shop in Alice Springs, you know, back then, and you could go there, and also you had your agents like Elders and Dalgetty started up. They started to stock a few camping gear and bush stuff too, you know. Yeah. So,
Very good, mate. Well, good to be back out in the desert again, sitting with a fire and
look, it's
camp in the bush.
It's going to get better, you know. Now we've left all the touristy section, so it's going to get better. We'll start running into seeing a lot of camels and dingoes and a lot of wildlife. Yeah. So it should be nice.
Yeah, very good, mate.
Yeah.
All right, Rich, thank you, mate.
All right, mate.
All right, just packing up. I'll show you quickly in the tent. 2 full-size pillows. Got our Drifta Stockton cotton sleeping bag. These are nice and warm. Got 2 just light woolen blankets. And this trip we've got the electric blanket. Now how I've found it best to use it is on top of the sleeping bag but underneath these blankets. And I've got the cable up I'm going to sleep on this side. So I've got it here. I can turn that on and off. So generally we'll turn it on before we go to bed. And then I'll turn it off before we go to sleep. And then when it's 4 o'clock in the morning, it just gets that really cold. So I can just easily reach out, turn that on, and then from 4 to about 6 o'clock, it's toasty warm. But that's the best way to use it, I think. Is on top of your sleeping bag, underneath another blanket. That works really good. And I'm just going to suck the air out of here with the little blower and pack it up so that deflates that mattress. This is the inflatable mattress, and this is our moleskin liner, really nice and comfy. So we're sleeping on top of that beautiful moleskin that we make at canvas, and we make these covers up. That's it really. All that stays in here. Once I deflate the mattress, everything just stays in there, and really easy, ready for next time. I also, down here, what I've got is a dual lead. So I've got a phone charger. If you can see that, that's a dual lead. So one's for electric blankets. You've got to make sure you unplug that. That's the electric blanket unplugged, and leave that on. And that phone can stay on there. It just tucks down there. Plug that in before we go to bed. And to get power in there, so it's a Stockton anode to double sig. And what Kaido's done is up in here, you can see a bit of dust on the silicon. It's just drilled a very small hole, poked a wire through. That's feeding into the power box, and then just silicon up around the hole. It's a really easy way of getting power in. Power in there all the time. So that's it. Yeah, so it's about 30-40 seconds on the blower to suck that air out. Everything stays inside, blankets, pillows. This has been a great pole, this one. You can get these on their website. It's the FWA 008. It's the lockout pole that fits inside there. It just helps hold that up because we've got solar panels on top. Ready? Good tonight. Right, so we're on the track and we're heading west towards the WA border. Take a look, nice big road, plenty of room, corrugations, but not too bad. I'm going to pull up in a minute and let the tyres down, empty a tyre out of it. And yeah, the thing is to point out, you know, we're doing all the filming this trip, and same with the last few trips, just on an iPhone. Shame we couldn't, you know, get better set up, but really for me, not really, you know, that technical. story I was telling yesterday, and we had to watch a bit of the video to realise what it was. Yeah, when we were up in Darwin, waiting for Dicko to give us a call, and it was probably at least two weeks or so before we got the call, and we were just hanging around the backpackers. But I needed money, I wanted to work, so there was a job in the paper advertising for a painter, and so I went and applied for it. Told them I was a painter, and up until that stage, 3 years in the army, I did paint my grandfather's house once up in school when I was about 17. So I thought, well, how hard is it to be a painter? I thought I could do that. So applied for a job, and it was on the Navy base, and it was pretty much the painting contractors were sort of seemed to me to be a bikie gang. They're all big beards and tattoos and big fellas with bikes, and they looked to be they were bikies. Anyway, so I rang them up, said I'm a painter and ready to start next day, and they said, yeah, no worries, come straight in. So it was on the Navy base there, somewhere in Darwin. It was summer, very hot. Anyway, and my brother's there too, and he needed some work, and he was a carpenter. So I said to the guys, I said, oh, by the way, my brother's a carpenter, but he's looking for a job too. And they said, no, we only want painters. I'm like, all right. So anyway, got the panel van and went up there. I'm sitting in this big crib room that morning, waiting for a start, and everyone's sort of having a coffee. And then one of these bikies, he was telling the story. He said, oh, you wouldn't believe it, some idiot rang up yesterday, said his brother was a carpenter, who wanted a job, and everybody was laughing, like, oh, what a bloody dickhead, And I was sitting there like, shit, I hope they don't realise that was me, But I wasn't a painter at all, and I did a lot of that sort of thing, like just said, yeah, I can do it, mate. There's another story I can tell about Trouty, when we first went on Trouty, and my little brother Tim, we said we could ride horses, and we never ridden a horse in our life, and we got a job anyway. That's a good little story. I'll tell that one next maybe, but anyway, so they got me a brush, and the bikie came over and he said, what do you like on gloss on doors, I mean, yeah, no worries, I can do gloss on doors. Well, it turns out painting gloss paint on doors is one of the hardest things a painter has to do, because you've got to get it exactly right, and I had no idea how to do gloss on doors, so anyway, he gave me the brush, he stood me in front of the door and he said, right, have a go. And I just started slapping on paint like I was painting Grandpa's house, I suppose. And he just looked at me like, you effing idiot, And he grabbed the brush out of my hand. He nearly kicked me up the arse. And he said, well, come up here, and he put me on the roof of this Navy base, and I had to paint the eaves. And it honestly nearly killed me, because it was so hot and sweaty. It was January, and I cooked up there, but that was probably, I don't know, my punishment for being a dickhead, or I didn't care, I was loving it, so up to that stage, when you got no money, you're keen, you do anything, and I had been in the army, and the army's very tough life, and up early, and a lot of hard work, and you learn very quickly to do exactly as you're told, and when you've got to go and do something, you run, and I come out of there and worked for a guy called Graham Brown. That's a good little story maybe, and he was a tough boss, very good man. I've learned a lot from Graham, but tough boss, and worked a bit for my old man, also a tough boss, and so it didn't worry me. I was a hard worker, and anyway, but that painting the eaves was tough, and we did it for about 10 days, and then we got that call up from Dicko, and yeah, so alright, well this is heading west. Apparently I got a message through from Johnny Howe, a good mate he's from back our way, and he's a horse dentist. There's a name for that, I can't remember what it's called, but he's a good fella, Johnny, and him and his young fella Hayden are riding bikes in Kaito at the moment. They're riding the motorbikes, and Johnny travels all this country a lot, going to all the stations doing the teeth on all the horses. So Lasseter's cave is a apparently he sent me a message that said make sure you stop at Lasseter's Cave. And that's just up here, not far away, so we'll have to have a look at that. And there's a bit of a story behind that. Richard might know more about it, but he found a reef of gold apparently. And then he died, I think, and they found him in a cave, and no one's found his reef of gold. So apparently we didn't bring the metal detector, but all right. So the country is just changing. See this here now. We've got some ridges, dry ridges. And our landscape just changed from the red soil, the red sand, to this. So, alright, thanks guys. Lasseter's Cave, we're going to go have a look?
Yeah, just around the corner there, so we're going to have a look.
So what's the story, Richard? Do you know?
No, not
Do you
the
know
full
much about
story,
it, or?
So it's something I'll sort of have to look at, because I don't even remember what the year, you know.
Yeah. He's so he died here, didn't he?
He died in the cave there, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure who found him. Might have been the local people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really can't say.
Beautiful country, isn't it? These
Changes, eh? You know,
ridges and the rocks and the white trees.
flats and floodouts and different to you know, Mari and Kubapedi and those places would come along.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, what a good country.
Yeah. Lasseter's Cave. You reckon?
Awesome.
So yeah, apparently found a reef here.
Definitely been some fires.
1900, came back in 1930 to find it again. Couldn't find it again and died right here in the cave. Yeah.
You dig down and then there's the soakage, you know? Yes. There's water under it. Yeah, but this guy, he wouldn't have known anything about that, you know?
No.
Yeah.
He was focused on hunting. Hunting for his
Focused on
gold.
hunting and yeah, like I said, the local knowledge was there, you know, on the country and the land and the water, and all they had to do was connect that. And same was finding his reef, you know, they would have told him exactly where it was.
Yeah.
But they
Like,
probably didn't want to, you know.
Yeah.
Like Burke, I mean, he
Yeah.
starved to death, and Lasseter starved to death, but there's food everywhere here, isn't there?
Food everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
Like on the Cooper, that's you had bird life, ducks, everything there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the last survivors, he was an Irishman. He was the one that lived out of all that crew.
Yeah.
Then I think every second year, they have a reunion with the Indigenous people.
Yeah.
Because he married into an Aboriginal woman there, and then also there's descendants there, families, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the French, some of the French families come over, or they go over there, and just to celebrate that the connection.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder why he didn't make contact with the local people, and because I think Burke, they tried to contact, connect with him, and he didn't want a bar of it, did he? And then he starved. Like the Aboriginal people tried to look after him, and he sort of hunted them away.
Oh, look, Aboriginal people, they were very helpful, you know. Yeah, but there's a way you had to connect to show that you're genuine and honest, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's it for.
And worthy, really.
There's like a shopping centre of food there, isn't it?
Oh,
If you know where to look,
heaps along here, you know. Yeah, you got plants, you got widgety grubs, which is high in protein and all that, you know, all along the creek beds. river systems.
We probably should try and find
Amazing.
Kiwi boys a few witchy grubs later on. You reckon, Glenn?
Glenn needs some protein.
You know, then you add, you know, your lizards, your printies, your goannas. And I think when Lynn Bedell, he did all the tracks, somehow he was able to sort of connect with a lot of the tribes
Yeah.
on his way through, you know, and establish that friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good man, I've heard.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he had a huge influence out here, didn't he? Like a lot of these tracks on the map are all marked with, you know, a lot of markers from Len
it,
Bedell.
You know, from the territory across the west and all around. Yeah.
Find any gold, Downey?
Not yet.
Massive volume of water.
Keep looking.
What a spot, eh? It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
You know, yeah.
By diamond.
It comes off all those standing there and then all around, you know. Yeah.
It sort of shows the ignorance of the white man, doesn't it, you know?
It does.
And you're saying there's his cave and were they figs?
Yeah, you got wild figs there, come on certain time of the year, and then you got wild apples from the mulga trees
Yeah.
there, and then like we said in the river system, you got widgety grubs and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of food source, you know. Yeah. And you got lizards, goannas,
Yeah.
and so.
Yeah, it was sad,
But a
wasn't it?
lot of the early explorers and pioneers were ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been hearing about this place for a long time and never been here, so that's pretty cool.
yeah. Same with people out there, you know, they haven't heard about it, they haven't seen it, you know, now they're getting sort of first hand from you.
Yeah. That's a gorgeous little tree up there on top of the cave too, isn't it? What do you call that?
Standing proud.
Yeah.
A ghost gum or a
Yeah, gum. Yep, ghost gum.
beautiful little tree, isn't it?
You got another one over there, you know,
I wonder how big that would have been in the 30s. Would have been a small tree back then.
Would have been, yeah.
Slow growers.
All right.
Yep.
Lasseter's Cave. Yeah, so it's a beautiful road at the moment. Sort of sandy gravel, and there's gorgeous ranges coming up. We haven't seen any water on the track at all yet. So Richard's saying there's a waterhole up ahead. He wants to show us. So I'm going to pull up there. The water's about, have a look here. The water's about 50 k's away. So that's what it looks like. Heading west from Ayres towards the border, and a few corrugations, but otherwise we're sitting at 100. We let our tyres down to 36 on the back and 33 on the front, and you might be able to feel that it's just running real smooth. You know, the suspension on this truck is great. Long wheelbase and a nice suspension. It's riding beautifully, so it's a great setup. I think the extended, you know, the twin cab extended is probably the ultimate, you know, Outback tourer, really. Got the space, long wheelbase, and with the coils, yeah, super comfortable. They're not just comfortable, but you know, the more comfortable it is, really the easier it is on your gear as well. When you have a rough ride, a hard ride, corrugations, you know, it is vibrating your truck and things. The vibrations just kill stuff, you know, break stuff, and so I think it's, you know, having the coils, you know, I'm really enjoying it. I've had leaf springs all my life on vehicles. From the original 47 series, had leaf on the front, leaf on the back, and then I finally got myself a 75 series Trippy with that coils on the front, and we felt that it was like a limousine, you know, just have a better ride on the front. But we've always had coils, leaf on the front. Now we've got coils around, so it's definitely a beautiful ride, and that suspension really helps around as well. It's riding just a lot better. Anyway, look at this here, get some sand hills. Gorgeous part of the world. Suffers its first casualty. Get it fixed, see what happens. We've got a spare tyre there, and we've got a spare case up top. I'm going to need to pick up a tyre somewhere. Yeah, so where was that, Richard?
Yeah, it was just there. Somewhere on that edge. Wow.
Yeah, just got a puncher.
Oh, it's on the bottom now. Just got to do a half a turn the other way so it faces out to make it easier to.
Yeah, there it
It's
is.
just there. Okay, so make it easier to do that.
So, just got a rock straight in there.
Yeah.
Let's bring him around this way a bit. You got your local rig, that one.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good mate. Up the boys in front of us, the binos. Hope there's some diesel left. Some bikes. Yeah, right. So we just called him to Warrakuma and now heading down to Warburton. So we were considering going the old Gunbarrell, which is up here, but that road's probably going to be rough as hell. Glenn's already down a tyre, and I think we'll just keep pushing on to Warburton and then Walloona, and not push our luck. Because really the trip's about the canning, not the Gunbarrell so much. So yeah, it's going to keep head straight down here, and we put the tyres back to, well, I'm 30. People have been asking. I'm 36 on the back and 33 on the front, so I've sort of dropped 10 psi from what I'm running on the road, and for me that seems to work pretty good. I don't want to drop any more on the back than 36. On the canning, when we're slower speeds, I'll probably drop a little bit more, but well, I probably will for sure, depending how sandy it is. But at the moment that's pretty good. But you know, it's interesting. You know, a lot of people, well, you can talk for ages about what's better on a road like this. You know, what's happened to Glenn? He dropped down the same pressure as me, and he just hit a rock and punctured it. So, you know, some people say, you know, you should drop your tyres down to 30.
station up in Malunga, the boys there used to have all the tyres on 50 psi all the time. But I think, and also Box Rabbit Broom, a mate in Broom, he said, yeah, just put them on 50 and leave them there, you know. So if you had to drop it down more, you're more risk of a flat, or if you pump them up really hard, you know. It's hard to know, but I think really it's important to drop a little bit, and otherwise your corrugation is just going to be so rough that you end up doing under damage as well. So I think about 35 is not a bad balance, you know. At the end of the day, it's a balance. And yeah, but on the station they were just all 50 psi, they're all split rims, had a lot of Land Cruiser utes, and I used to spend Sundays fixing all the tyres. There's a massive pile of tyres, and I was working with Dutchy at the time. We'd spend all Sunday just patching tyres, and we just get, and that's how I learned to really do it, because I had the panel van then on the cattle station, and what they used to use was 2 big blocks of angle line, about probably 80mm by 80mm angle line, and then 100, but probably about 80mm wide as well. So a block of angle line, big heavy 6mm stuff, just rounded edges, and once the tyre's flat, you would just put those angle line on the side of the tyre. Once you got to break the bead, you just bash it with a big sledgehammer, and you know, work your way around. That'll break the bead. Get your 2 tyre levers, pop the split rim off, and then just pull the tube out and patch it. So when I got the troop carrier, the 47 series, the tyres on the front were about 50%. They weren't too bad, but the tyres on the back were fairly flat, fairly bald. You know, when I went up a couple of years later up the Tanami, I had 7 flat tyres on the Tanami Desert Road, and you know, I didn't even bother at the time swapping them over, like putting the spare on, because you got so many flat tyres. So I just used to jack it up with the high lift jack, the same jack I've got here now. And one problem I had back then was the handbrake didn't work, and also on that trip up to Tanami on the L47, I had no, the battery had a flat battery. I couldn't afford a decent battery, and the one I had, it just, not sure if it went flat or it open circuited from the corrugation, but I basically, yeah, it just died, the battery died. So I had to get a tow start in the morning, and I was getting a tow start by a road train driver that I met up with. So the thing with that is I couldn't turn the truck off to change the tyre. I just leave it in neutral, but then I didn't have a handbrake either, and with the high lift you lift it up quite high, and you know, you'll roll off that really easy. It's quite dangerous. So what I used to do, I did actually have a spare battery with me, but it was flat also. So I used to put the spare battery out of the back, just about half a foot in front of the front tyre, and I would lift it up on the high lift jack on the back, and then just push it forward, and that'd fall forward and onto the spare battery, and that'd sort of act like the handbrake. You know, there was no rocks in the desert, so the battery was quite handy, quite good for that job. And actually there's photos of the old 47 Troop, and you'd see a big, you know, scrape down the back, under the back window, where the jack used to tilt forward and scrape down the rear panel. Took all the paint off and a bit of a dent, but that's all I could do at the time. So we'd leave the motor running, and the old 2H motor just kept ticking over, and I'd jack it up, pull the tyre off. I had, you know, carried those bits of angle line with me, and a little sledgehammer, and I'd just break the bead, pull the tube out, patch it, and put it back on again. Now I only had, same as Richard, you know, I only had a bike pump. We didn't have any compressors. It was, for me, it was something I really wanted back in those days. Something I always wanted and dreamt about was a little blue tongue compressor. And it took me another couple of years before I could get one. But at the time, I had a double-handed bike pump, and yeah, just pumped up with a hand pump, put it back on, and dropped the jack down, and off we went. So I did that 7 times on the Tanami Road, and those old tyres, the tubes were just patches everywhere on them, you know. But the tyres were fairly bald, you know, and we just couldn't afford good tyres back then. You know, a good tyre was like a week's wages, you know. Not like today, where the tyres are cheaper and wages are higher. But back those days, just didn't hold, and they just used to keep falling off. The retreads would break and fall apart. So I gave up retreads, and I just used to keep patching the tyres. But yeah, that's what we used to do. So all right, that was the old 47. It was a road. The Tanami is very similar to this, I reckon. And that was a while ago. So a couple of tyre stories. So yeah, heading to Warburton, and see how we go there. Thanks, guys. Here's a yes, that would have been a pretty significant place, wouldn't it? A waterhole like this, Richard?
Oh, definitely. All the tribe used to travel through all these places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they would have gone waterhole to waterhole.
Yep. Along the way, they'd be hunting, hunting and just, not just totally hiking, but just hunting along the way, and then they'd get to these water points.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And the greater blades to stop the camels, eh?
I tried to.
Yeah. Were they, mate?
So you can drop something down and use it as
You could, eh?
leverage almost.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, we'll just patch it with this rather than pull it off. Yes.
All good, mate. Yep.
Thank you, bro. That's about 10 minutes. That's about. Yeah, so I was just coming into town there, and I just felt a little unstable, but wind was blowing a gale, and I said to Glenn, you getting blown around by the wind? He said, yeah. So I thought it was that, but this was going flat. So, yeah, it's really important to be able to pull up in time. Otherwise if you keep going on a flat tyre, you destroy the tyre. I suppose that's where those tyre monitors are really good, but they also seem to be a real pain in the arse. They just dip all the time and carry on. I haven't found any good ones, but it could be stopping in time if you run flat, because the one on Glenn's tyre, they didn't pick it up in time. Lower profile tyre, and it's almost destroyed the tyre because it ran on the rim, and it's just destroyed the internal
the wall, so that could be a problem down the track, we don't know. Anyway, topped up fuel. These bladders are good, eh? Right there. Plenty of water, look at that. And I'll show you the map where we are quickly. We're here, Warburton. We just come down from the border to Warrakuma. Down here to Warburton. Now we're going to come down here, get onto this road and up onto the old Gunbarrell across here. So it's going to be a lot slower going now. Alright. Basically turned onto the Gunbarrell, just sort of southwest of Warburton, and you can see this here. So this is the old Gunbarrell, heading up through here, about 500 k's to Wiluna, and well, from Ayres Rock across west, it's been new territory for me, but Richard had been that main road many times, carting cattle and trucks, and but he hasn't been on this road, so all five of us never been this road before, so yeah, we're going to have to go a bit slower. I think it'll take probably a good day to do the 500 k's, and we'll probably camp on this track tomorrow night. I don't think we'll quite make Wiluna, but then we'll roll into town next morning, I think. Stock up, fuel up, and if all goes well, ready to tackle the canning. One thing I've done is on these Clivia mirrors, which are great. Lucky we, we poured in for fuel, and I had a flat exactly the same as what Glenn happened half hour earlier. Unfortunately, they didn't pick up on theirs, and the tyre ran on the rim for a while, and it's destroyed the inside of the tyre. So it's, we've swapped it over, but tyres. We can get 20 psi in it, but anymore, just yeah, mate, stunning, eh? Anymore, like the sidewall's been destroyed. It's all when we pulled the tyre off. There's just handfuls of rubber, of rubber inside we pulled out. So I don't think you'll be able to put much more than 20 psi in it. That's his second spare, so see how we go. But you know what we've done on the mirror is turn the bottom mirror down so you can see the tyre. Right? I can just I can lean forward, have a look, and I can see that tyre, and I can see that tyre. So if I was having a flat, it is hard to tell, you know. But if you pick it up early on, then you can, stop and fix it. But if you run your tyre on the rim, you're going to destroy the tyre. And if you've only got one flat and you destroy it, unfortunately, then you only left one left, or you don't want to be destroying a tyre. So I think that's not a bad idea, is to be able to see, keep an eye on those rear tyres. Anyway, so yeah, I mean the roads it's a good 500 k's. The road's pretty good, much like this, but a bigger road, and we're doing about 100. Yeah, you can go slower, but you've got a long way to go as well, so just luck of the draw, really. Tyres are down about 35, both got flat. It's a pretty rocky road though, and we just plugged them. I didn't even take the tyre off, just plugged it and keep going. Alright, see how this road goes. So quick story. We're a little bit slower at the moment, and the engine noise is not so loud. And yeah, so when I left the army, I had a little XL 250 motorbike, and I got a job working for a bloke called Graham Brown, and he was a farmer out at Tunbridge Wells, it was called, the farm, out at Acadia in Orange. And Acadia's pretty well known now. It's an enormous gold mine out the back of Orange, and they bought the mine off Graham. It was Graham's property basically. So when I was there was a few drillers coming around, but there was it was a working sheep and cattle farm. It was a big farm, and I at that time, 3 years in the army, I didn't really had any experience on a farm before, but I loved being outside. I loved working with, I loved the farm. A few of my mates growing up, Colgate and John McKenzie and a few others, they had farms, and I just loved being on the farms, So, Graham was a tough bloke, and a few people actually said to me, "Oh, you won't be able to work for him. He's a hard man." And but I just come out of the army where we're up early and tough men in the army, the sergeants, and so to me it was pretty easy really. But he was a tough boss, but he was very fair, and I learned a lot from Graham. He also changed my life, because this might morph into a bit of a bunch of short stories of men who changed my life, because Graham was certainly one of them, in that he was patient with me. I knew nothing about farming, and he taught me how to operate and drive the tractor, how to operate, how to strain up a fence, how to dig fence posts, how to put in fence posts. He taught me how to crutch, he taught me how to shear. I did a bit of shearing with him, a lot of crutching. He taught me about weeds and quad bikes, and I learned a lot of weeds, the different types of weeds and paddocks from him. I learned a lot about sheep, foot rot, and how to work a mob with a dog. So I had this dog called Red, and he was a great dog. So we used to go out the back to Acadia, it was called, and although Graham had Tunbridge Wells, I'm pretty sure he was leasing a big property called Acadia, which is where the gold mine was. So we used to go there, me and Red on our own, and we'd see the drilling rigs out there, and they were drilling for testing for gold. It turned out to be one of the richest gold mines, well, I think at least in Australia. So it's a huge, thriving enterprise, and so I used to go there with Reg, the dog, on my own, and with him, and we'd muster big mobs of sheep and bring them in for shearing, take them back again. And also Graham taught me cattle work as well, and learning cattle, if you grow up with it, like Colgate, another good mate of mine, Ian Darwin, he's got a couple of boys, and they've grown up with cattle, and they just know how to do it. 6, 7, 8 years old, they just automatically know what to do. But Graham, he was very patient with me. And he taught me, about pretty much with a beast, whether it's a horse or a cow, if you're behind their eye, they will sort of move forward away from you. But the second you get in front of their eye, they will sort of pause and stop. So that's sort of the point, a line perpendicular to their eyes. If you're in front of that, they'll stop, and behind that, they'll go. And not so much in the paddock, but that holds true in the paddock as well, but mostly in the yards, And so I learned how to work cattle from Graham, and sheep, but mostly cattle, and he was a great teacher, and that became invaluable for me for many years in America, working on Malunga. I got a job in a cattle station, and so he was great, Graham. He called me he thought I was a bit of a black sheep, I remember him telling me that once, and that's certainly true. But we had some good yarns, over smoko, and again, while he's a tough boss, he ran a tight ship. Like, he ran a really good farm, like everything was neat and tidy, and he'd make us check the oil and water every day on his Land Rovers, like every single day. If you want to start a Land Rover, you'd have to check the oil and water. If you wanted to get in the tractor, you'd have to check the oil and water every day, without fail. And so I had a good time there, and but I was getting $8 an hour, and working big days, and it was an hour away from me. I had a little motorbike, and a XL 250, So it was a good 45 minutes away from where I was living in Blaney on the motorbike. Through winter time, you know, it got into winter and it was freezing cold, and you know, so I decided to leave there, which is a bit of a shame because I sort of left quite quickly, and I got a job in the you know, at the abattoirs, which is you know, the next little chapter, I suppose. So I'll tell you that in the next story. I think Jake's got enough, you know, stories for today's episode. I think it's Saturday. Is that right, Jody? Saturday today. Not sure the date. Jake's got enough footage for today, so we'll tell a few more stories tomorrow. Maybe from when I left Graham's place, the farm, and I went to the Blaney Abattoir, which was another turning point in my life. So, alright, look at this here. It's up and down little bits. The horizon is a long way away. Very isolated out here. But this is living. Yeah, this is the Gunbarrell. About 80, driving into the sun. This is pretty cool. This is what we come here for. These isolated tracks. And yeah, look at this. A lot of spin effects around now. Just spin effects planes on this hard gravel. So I think we've got about another hour in us tonight. Hour at the most, and then we'll pull up and make some camp. Well, we're sort of off the beaten track here. Wouldn't say we're lost, but not sure if we're on the right track. But here we are.
track. Jeez. Glenn, what's your favourite bit of camp gear from the last couple of days?
Well, I definitely love these chairs. These are absolutely fantastic. Fast to set up, comfy. The footrest is next level. We've had some cold nights.
Yeah.
Been down to, I think it got down to 4 degrees one night.
You going to get your cushions on?
100%. It's going to be cold tonight as well, I'm sure.
Just grab this. I'm a little bit ahead of you over here.
Yeah, you are.
Just set these up and show you how they work. These are the cushions.
Just so simple. And I tell you what, for those who are questioning about does it provide warmth, it's next level.
It's good, isn't it? Pillow stays on there. The brand goes at the back. That's it.
Just clips at the front. Done. That's awesome.
Wait, one more thing.
What have you got? Ah! There you go.
Oh,
Plus, who needs air conditioning when you've got a portable heater?
Cooking lesson. Right, here's a camp. Boys have got their standard setup, awning and swag. Richard, how do you reckon you would have gone in 50 years ago if you rocked up in the stock camp in one of these chairs with a cushion?
Oh,
You reckon they'd
you'd never hear the end of it, eh?
yeah. It's called the Kiwi
I reckon
cushion.
there would have been some fights over it, just quietly.
You know, you're a wuss. So
You're a wuss.
Yeah.
Eh? Until they sat in it.
Yeah.
What's this
And there would have been.
What's this
Uncle
Kiwi
Richard, how
cushion?
can I have your
Did you hear that, did you?
Yeah, what's this Kiwi cushion?
I've renamed them the Kiwi cushion.
Kiwi cushion? All right, we'll take that.
Well, I'm only using them because you guys have got them.
Well, there's not all that one-upmanship here.
look comfy though, eh? Looks nice.
What's happening, Danny?
Sit in.
Got some lights?
Have you not sit in? Oh, come on. No, you've got this. You've got to try on it.
The lights on?
I've even got a recline.
What's going on, Danny? Oh.
Cooking chicken tom yum,
Grab the handles. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
and I will reheat the sticky rice from we cooked last night.
Yeah.
And it's some leftover.
Yeah, it's going to reheat it.
Yeah.
How's your little kitchen going?
So far so good. More organized.
Don't need much, eh? These bags are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
These are the bags we designed after the Simpson Desert trip, remember?
Yes.
The Outback edition. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, because the Simpson Desert, you know, the beautiful red sand.
Yeah,
I made this new Drifta
That's-
Outback Australia edition.
That's nice earthy colour, you know.
Yeah, the brown and the red. It's down his food bags. These are actually called a drinky bag. But they're the Drinky McDrink face. We couldn't name them, so
Drinking base.
we didn't know what to call them. So we put a competition on Facebook and ended up calling them the Drinky McDrink face bag. But they're a handy size, you know. What do you got in there, Darren? Lots of things.
Yeah, dry food stuff.
What do you think of this Kiwi table here, Luke? Just to keep everything off the ground.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Very organised.
It's only taken them 5 nights.
Very organised. All right, we're in for a treat tonight. Tom yum. To be good. And not much out here. There's more firewood than I've ever seen in this camp. So we're just gonna enjoy the night and some good food.
This is charter.
Oh, yes, your Drifta thing, is it, Luke? Wildfire.
Yeah. Yep.
What's Pico? That's a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my favorite bag. And I use for the first one is my seasoning, the small bottle.
So what bag is it? That's the upright toiletry.
Yeah. Like some other stuff like soy sauce, sugar.
Traditional Thai food, eh?
Not really.
Oh, yeah, the Vegemite. Yeah.
And the next one is essential one.
Oh yeah. What's that? Plum wine.
Plum wine and shoyu.
Oh yeah.
And American honey.
Yep. What's that one?
And this one is my a real toiletry.
A real
one.
toiletry.
Yes.
That's a handy bag though. Look, 3 different sort of things.
Yeah.
Spices, food, some
I love
spirits, and toiletry. It's the upright.
Yeah, anything upright.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Thank you.